Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tom. I'm an Open University student. Today's video I'm going to go over like 4 steps to get you ready for the next start of the academic year. Now these 4 steps might seem really obvious, but to be fair, most super obvious ideas are the ones that are most likely to be overlooked. So you might hear these steps and be like, well yeah, obviously. Or you might be like, oh yeah, but honestly it's stuff that I've overlooked in the past, and it's stuff that is super basic but can help you in a long way. So let's get right to it. The first step is to make time for your studying. Now again, sounds pretty obvious, but if you don't make time for this studying, when you come to start your module, academic year, whatever you're doing, whatever you're planning to study, when you come to start it, you might, if you've not already planned out your study time, you might come across obstacles such as, you might have your kids' study classes, or they might have like swimming classes, football, dance lessons. If you plan to study Saturday, Sunday morning, and then it comes to it, and Saturday you've got kids' lessons, Sunday you're on about going food shopping, before you know it, you've wasted that study time. And especially if you work Monday to Friday, you don't really want to do it in the evening time. So before you know it, you're a week behind, which works out about 10 hours in terms of OU time. So, boom, same thing. And if you leave to the last minute, you might be like, oh yeah, I've got lessons this week, we're away the weekend after. Weekend after is Uncle Jeff's birthday. Before you know it, you're 3 weeks behind, possible 30, maybe 60 hours if you're doing 2 modules. Or maybe even more if you're doing more modules behind, and then then you just got to play catch up. So you either rush through the module and only take in the bare minimum, or you just attempt to carry on with what they're doing now, and then you get lost because you haven't done the previous weeks, and it's all a bit iffy. So yeah, that's my first step. Just make time. Plan when you're doing it. Doesn't matter when. It doesn't matter if it's just 4 hours on a Saturday, 4 hours on a Sunday morning. Doesn't matter if it's 3 hours on a Tuesday because you finish work early on a Tuesday. Doesn't matter. Just plan it out to how much study time you need, to then work out how much time you need to allocate to studying. But not only that, but it also helps other people recognise when you will be studying. So when it comes to it, say you have planned out Saturday mornings are fine, you've never got anything planned Saturday mornings, you get there and then you sit down to doing it, and before you know it, your kids are running in asking you to take you somewhere, or people are texting you, ringing you all morning, and it all like just gets in the way of you studying. You want to create as little distractions as possible. So if other people, like your kids, your partner, parents, friends, relatives, if they know that you are studying that time, they're not going to get annoyed when you don't reply. They're not going to keep phoning you until you answer. They know that you're busy and so make plans for that time. It just helps not only yourself register that time is your study time, but also helps other people register that that's your study time and you are somewhat unavailable during those times. Now on to point number 2, is your study area. Again, seems super basic, but just plan out where you are going to study. And the reason why this is more of a point is because you might think, well, kitchen table, nice open table, I can bring my laptop down, put my laptop on the kitchen table, easy peasy. But you might also think, I don't really have any time anywhere to put my laptop and a book and a notepad, and I don't have anywhere for that space. So you might have to plan ahead, you might have to rearrange some things, you might have to make space in that spare bedroom that you use for storage, or you might have to rearrange and clear the kitchen table a bit. You've got to make space. My personal tip would be make space for you to have your computer or laptop with the keyboard. Obviously keyboard is on the laptop, but a keyboard, and then like a book for you to write in if you want to write down, or maybe your iPad if you're doing it all electronically, and then your exercise book of sort. You might not need all of them, you might just need just your computer, especially if you're doing OU, a lot of stuff is online, but then a lot of stuff requires you to be online and have a book open and have somewhere to store your notes or write down your notes. So plan ahead to have enough space for you to have your computer, your exercise book and your note-taking book open at all times for you to easily get to one another. Because last thing you want to do is be pushing your laptop to one side so you've got space to pull out your book and flipping through the right page, and then pulling your laptop back on top of your book to check you're on the right page and putting your laptop back over there. It gets in the way. Before you know, you wasted 10 minutes sorting everything out. So just plan out your study area. Like I say, you might have to move stuff about in your house to make room for it. You might not. You might just think kitchen table, plenty of space, done. But everyone's different. My also other tip would be to just make sure you got like 2 spaces if you can, just in case backup. Especially if you got like, I don't know, you got kids or whatever. They have homework. They might be using the main home computer, so you need another space to pull out your iPad or your phone, or just pull out your books and stuff to write on that isn't being used up by your kids doing their homework. You get the general gist. I would advise like 2 areas. For example, I have my desk in my room where my computer's at, but that doesn't have enough space to get out all my exercise books and stuff, so I either go down to the kitchen table because we've got a nice big kitchen table, or sometimes I just sprawl out on the living room floor if no one's home. I'll just sprawl out on the living room floor, especially with maths. When I did maths, I had like several books open and my laptop, and I'll just sprawl all over the living room floor, but it was what I had to do to make sure I had enough space and I was comfy and I could get to everything at once. So yeah, I would plan out for at least 2 areas if possible. Tip number 3 is probably super most basic one ever, is just make sure you've got all your utensils that you need. So pens, books, a spare stylus if you're doing electronically on your iPad or something like that. That's what I'm trying this year, so I keep bringing it up. I'm trying to go all electronical. Maybe you need to make sure you've got a nice keyboard that you can type on. Might sound super silly, but honestly, having a brand new keyboard could make the world of difference. My laptop keyboard, I hated that keyboard, but I got an external one, a wireless or wired one, and it was a lot easier to type on. You might be finding a laptop one, just, you know, it's something to point out, something to double check. Another thing to consider is also like your notebook. Just make sure you've got a couple notebooks. I had a notebook for each module that I did. Maybe you don't want to do that, but that's what I did for my time. So you've got a notebook, make sure you've got a calculator if you need one, and a proper one at that. Maybe you need a scientific calculator for a maths one. Just double check you got everything, because the last thing you want to do is sit down and realise you haven't got something that you need, and then you're waiting to go out and buy it. It just throws you off. Just make sure you've got everything, so when you go to sit down and start, you're good to go. Now, tip number 4 is look into your topics now. So go to your module website, module page, look through the specification and just double check, go over like some of the basic topics you'll be covering, and just start looking at them topics now. Whether it is just simply YouTubing them, watching someone else talk about it, or whether it's just researching yourself. Maybe it's buy a cheap book about it right now so you can read up on it. Just something to get you up to speed, so that those first few weeks you're not completely caught off guard by something that you'd never expected to come up, or you know, it lets you get ahead in those first few weeks, because the first few weeks of the modules that I've taken, first few weeks tend to be the modules that are like it's just basic information, it's just getting you started, which obviously it's going to be the first few weeks of the module. But if you can get up to speed and just blast through those first, I don't know, 3 to 6 weeks of basic knowledge, because you already know it from doing your previous work before you started the study, then before you know, you're 6 weeks ahead. So then up in, you know, when you come to later on in the course and you go into more complicated subjects, if you need to spend more time on those complicated subjects, you can. It's there, you're ahead, you've got plenty of time, you're 6 weeks ahead. Plenty of time to just work on and spend extra time on those difficult subjects if you need to. But not only that, but if you look into your topics now, you might be thinking, well, when am I supposed to make time for these topics? You've made time. Tip number 1 was to make time for your studies. So use those times. If you're planning to use 4 hours on a Saturday, 4 hours on a Sunday, use those times now to look into your studies, look into your modules that you're doing now and the topics that you'll be covering. It allows you to double check you've got all your utensils. It allows you to make sure that your study area is perfectly fine. Maybe you've, like I said before, maybe you've worked out that kitchen table is the best spot for you. But you find out when you sit down on a kitchen table on Saturday morning, you've got kids in the other room shouting and screaming, playing games. You've got teenager upstairs blasting music, or just it's constantly busy because your kids keep bothering you, asking for food, or maybe your partner's cooking or doing laundry. I don't know, but you might figure out that this study area that you thought was great and perfect for your time, for your studying, you might figure out that that actually isn't ideal because it's too noisy, you can't concentrate, or there's too many people in your house. Maybe you have to go to the library. I went to the library once for a few weeks, and it was ideal in that situation I needed to be. I was travelling through to another town, and while I was there, I was going to that library, and that library was like super quiet. So it was really nice to just sit there on my laptop, and literally like no one bothered me ever. So it was great. It's super quiet by nature, especially like off-campus libraries. Obviously, if you're part of a university or whatever, the library might be quite busy. But if you go to like an off-campus library, like just a small town library, chances are it's pretty quiet. They'll have plenty of desks. They might have like plugs in to plug in your laptop and phone chargers and stuff. It's just a good spot to chill out, and it's quiet. And like I say, people tend to not bother you in the library. So yeah, there's that. And yeah, I think that's mainly it. And also doing your studying now, it also gets other people thinking that you're studying. They get used to it. So if you've got small kids, they realise that you're not available during those times. You have to go to your partner or whatever, or they have to entertain themselves watching TV, or they actually have to make their own food and get drinks if they're of appropriate age, of course. But it gets a head start on other people, for other people to realise that you're not available. Because, like I say, you don't want to sit down and start this module, be looking forward to it and sitting down and getting ready to do it, and then get bombarded with videos with like phone calls and messages and group chats and blah blah, just blasting off and then distracting you. It just allows them to realise that you're not available, and it allows you to just get on with your work. And quite honestly, that's probably the most important part, is just making sure that when you come to start this module or course, whatever, that you know exactly what you're doing. As soon as go time, you can just go sit down at your study area. You've got everything there ready. You can just get on and crack on with it and spend an hour on it, 4 hours on it, a full day on it if you need to, whatever you've realised your study area is, your study time is. It allows you just to do it, just to use that time for what it's there for. So yeah, I think that's my 4 tips really. Like I say, super basic, but sometimes you need the basic tips pointed out to you to realise. So hopefully that's realised. If you've got any other tips, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to read other people's tips, because like I say, I'm expecting to start my next set of modules in October. So if you've got any other tips, get prepared. Please let me know, and yeah, we can help each other out in the comments. So thank you for watching. If you liked it, please like and subscribe and stuff. It will be helpful. All my social media links in the description if you want to ask me any questions or anything like that. And then yeah, I'll see you in a bit. Adios.